welcome back to another long, tan, and handsome episode of the Striped Sweater Podcast, where the best time to listen is all the time. I'm one half of your co-hosts, Billy Fishkins.
And my name's Brian Flounder. Welcome to the show, folks.
This episode, we're going to cover the Chaperone and Employee of the Month. And this is the first time that we're doing our show in 5 weeks that we don't have a guest?
Indeed.
We're OG crew.
Back to just Zach and I. And that's good, I think. It'll be fun.
Actually, I'm Billy.
Yeah. Billy. Yeah, this is episode 12, A and B. So we're moving right along. We're more than halfway through season 1. We only have 8 episodes left until season 1 is over.
Wow. I've been waiting for season 2 for a long time.
I know, yeah. But I guess 8 episodes, that's still quite a ways, but it'll be here before you know it, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an exciting time. So make sure you, the listener, if you're enjoying the podcast thus far, subscribe to us so you get episodes in your feed every Wednesday morning. If you really like us, go ahead, leave us a rating, and even a review would be super great.
My one friend says he likes listening to the beginning of our stuff before we even get to the episode, just because it's usually funny.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't have anything funny to talk about.
Sorry, Zach's friend.
Nick, who has the same birthday as you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Same to the year?
To the hour.
To the hour?
No, I think he might be younger by a slight bit.
Okay. I've said it to you before, I think. A lot of people have the April 6th birthday. Nick, you're probably literally probably the 40th person I've met in my life who has the same birthday as me. I mean, April 6th. I'm not saying same year or anything. But yeah, it's weird. A lot of people are born on that day. I don't know what it is. I guess a lot of people are born on every day, but it's just a matter of whose birthday you find out about,
27 years ago, I was born on tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, at the time of this recording. That's very special. Happy early birthday, Zachariah.
Thanks.
That's your given name.
We didn't even shout out your birthday.
My birthday? Well, I wasn't even thinking about it.
Yeah,
to be honest.
We do it days later. But I'm not Zachariah, right?
Yes,
but I
know.
Close to it.
It almost happened?
Mm-hmm,
oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
Yeah, as so many people
I know
call
you're
me
not.
That.
No, I mean, yeah, it's just like an endearing way of being like, oh, I'm going to say your full name.
Yeah, I'm going to lengthen your name.
Yeah, there's people, who are just named like Mark or John or whatever, and people will call them Jonathan or Marcus. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I always remembered whenever I would hear that happen, I would just be like, I would hate that if people did that to me.
This is funny.
Said my name wrong.
This is funny too, though, because Nick would like this joke this thing I'm going to talk about, because his cousin, my close friend from high school, he used to date this girl.
Okay.
And she would call people by their full names all the time, regardless of what they wanted, like in high school and stuff.
Yeah.
And we have a friend, Mark, and she would call him Marcus, and that's not his name. And He would get mad, and rightfully so.
That's how I feel. It's like, that's not my name.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care, because Zachariah is kind of like a funny,
it's a joke. Yeah, I wouldn't even, if that was your name, I probably wouldn't, well, actually, I probably would call you that all the time, but it's just like a fun thing to say.
Yeah, I'd love it if you'd call me Jebediah.
Yeah, Jebediah or Jedediah or any of those silly old names.
Yeah.
I mean, I say silly just because they seem silly relative to modern day. I'm not bashing, anything. Don't get the wrong idea, people.
Is Jeb Bush short for Jebediah? What kind of name is Jeb?
Yeah, I think it's just Jeb, actually, for Jeb Bush. Because, I don't know. I thought you were looking it up.
No. Oh, should I?
I don't know. Now that we're on the topic.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's just Jeb because his
name is John Ellis Bush. Jeb.
Oh.
He's like Job.
He's like Job.
That
That's
makes so
funny.
much more sense why they named him Job.
Yeah.
Because it's a playoff of Jeb Bush in the Bush family.
Yeah, right. Okay. That's funny.
Yeah, like because there's George and then there's George H.W. That's funny. I never really realized that it's like they were playing off of the Bush family when they named the characters and stuff.
That is funny.
Because it's like George and then George
George
Sr. and
Michael.
George Michael.
Yeah. That's funny.
Oh boy, I just accidentally blew myself.
We're talking about, Arrested Development for those who aren't aware of those references we just made.
And remember that there's always money in the banana stand.
Yeah.
Speaking of money, I think it's about time that we went over the episode.
Sure.
Featuring a crab who loves money. That's how I tied it in.
Indeed. All right. Well, it sounds like you might be ready, Zach. Are you ready?
I don't know. Aye, Alex.
Here's what we're going to do. You shut the fuck up. I'm going to do the talking.
You shut your mouth when you're talking
I'll
to me.
fucking kill you. I will kill you. I'll fucking jump over this table and fucking strangle you to death. Right now.
I don't think you can even jump over this table.
I could. I can jump very high.
Yeah.
And low.
I can jump high and I can jump sober. And we're back. We're here with the Chaperone. I wish somebody in this podcast knew anything about the people who made this freaking thing.
Well, first of all, the episode aired on October 2nd of 1999, and it was 11 minutes long. The storyboard artist was Aaron Springer, storyboard director was Sherm Cohen. It was written by them two, along with Peter Burns, and the animation director was Sean Dempsey, creative director. Who could it be now?
Derek Dry Monster.
Indeed, Double D, the driest mon, in the lawn.
Derek Dry Monster. I just said it.
Yes.
It's funny you picked that song because for my friend's birthday
You like that
a few
song?
weeks ago, we did karaoke and we were doing like solo songs, and I had enough drinks to be like, all right, I know what song I'm going to do. And I did Overkill and nobody like knew the song. I felt weird, you know? I can get to sleep. You know that song?
Yeah.
So good. Anywho, this episode is called The Chaperone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like...
A film?
Yeah, I didn't even think of this until like we said it during the podcast. The film with Triple H, right? Have you ever seen it?
I've never seen it.
What? Oh my god.
I know about it.
Yeah, straight to DVD.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Have you watched any of those movies like that? Like Knucklehead?
I have not.
Like The Marine? Have you seen The Marine at
No.
least? What?
No.
Have you ever watched 12 Rounds?
No. Why would I watch those?
Some of them are pretty good, and they have people that you like from other things. That's why it's funny.
I mean, it
Do you watch
does.
stuff
None of
that The
them really.
Rock's in?
None of them really do have people I like from other things. Like
I like John Cena. And
I mean, he's
Triple
okay.
H and Big Show. Why not?
they're-
See No
they're
Evil?
all-
Did you
They're
watch
all
that?
pretty lame.
Did you watch See No Evil?
See No Evil. No, I never
Kane?
saw that, but I would because that
Kane
one
is
is
a
funny.
horror
Yeah.
villain?
The idea of that is very funny to
Well,
me.
now it like sucks.
But let's get into the episode.
Right.
The
So we start
Chaperone.
with an exterior shot of the Krusty Krab, and we can see there's a sign behind the Krusty Krab. I never noticed it before. Apparently, it's for parking or something.
I would think so. I mean, there's definitely not a drive-through. We know
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So it's just parking. And Zach wasn't sure if the cars ever parked around the Krusty Krab, and I assured him they did. And we
But they
checked,
don't.
and they do.
Only boats do. All right, so then it goes to SpongeBob sniffing a Krabby Patty. Well, just the just the patty itself.
Yeah.
And then he like grabs it with his hand and squirts mustard on it, almost like he's gonna make a smiley face, but with no eyes.
Yeah.
And then he's like putting on the lettuce and tomato and stuff. But then there's some ruckus. There's some crying going on.
Yeah, and SpongeBob puts a pan on top of his head for protection from the wrath that is Pearl Crabs, the whale.
And we watch her run across, and she's in Mr. Krabs' office, and there's so much tears, like the sheer amount of tears. It's like flooding under the door, and it's already like flooded,
and it
the
leaves
whole lobby.
It leaves a trail behind her as well while she's running across the room.
Yeah, and it's like a whole stream. It's like moving because there's so much.
And right. So she's in there crying to Mr. Krabs.
Yeah, SpongeBob goes to check out what's going on, and he like puts his ear to the door, so to speak, and all he can hear is crying. But then the door like flops open on top of him and is just gushing water out.
Yes,
but it's as if the door was hinged on the bottom, right? Because like the top of it flies off.
I guess,
and he's holding it, and he like pushes it back up.
It wouldn't, if he pushed it back up, it wouldn't stay, right? Unless it were hinged on the bottom.
Yeah. That's because that's how it came off, you know.
Yeah, but
and the door's made of wood as well, which is unusual because usually
it's a wooden door with a window, and we'll see later in this episode and in the following episode, Employee of the Month, that his door usually is metal and has an anchor on it. At least in these 2 episodes, I never noticed it before today, but.
But the tears aren't enough. Even after SpongeBob pushes the door open, it's enough force to push Mr. Krabs out as well and completely obliterate the door.
Yeah.
And then we can see the other patrons of the restaurant as Mr. Krabs goes rushing toward them on a stream of tears.
Yes.
And there was something weird about all the people eating at the Krusty Krab right now.
Yeah, there's a good shot of, like the dining area in the Krusty Krab, and it's inhabited by nothing but fish that look identical to a fish that we are used to seeing in Fred, the My Leg guy.
Yeah, they all look like him, but some of them are different shades, but they're all wearing just like the pants with the belt and no shirt as well.
And basically the same color, but they are like slightly different shades. We'll see later because they're washed away, and
so I was assuming that maybe it's like his family reunion. They're having it there.
Right, yeah.
But they're all at different tables and stuff too.
Right. I feel like what really happened was, for whatever reason, the animators just thought it'd be easier to animate or draw the same fish all over, or they just had him in the most poses maybe or something already, like stock images of him in different poses.
They all get washed away, like you said. And Mr. Krabs is like laying there. He gets pushed. They all get like thrown up in the air by the tears. And then Krabs is laying there, and they start falling from like the ceiling area, and draping on top of him.
Yeah.
And this is where we can see when SpongeBob comes up, he's got like the old wooden door over his head, and then we can see Krabs' actual door in the back.
Yeah, right. I don't know. He's like contorted in a weird way through the window of the wooden door, and he's like, "Mr. Krabs, what's wrong with Pearl?" And Mr. Krabs says, "Her scurvy prom date stood her up," which is funny to me. Calls him scurvy. That's like a mean.
It's a
thing.
Disease.
Yeah, right. It's like a. I don't know. It's just kind of funny.
Mr. Krabs, what's wrong with Pearl?
Her scurvy prom date stood her up, boy, and now she can't seem to find another.
That's because there's only one fish in the sea as long, tan, and handsome as he is, and that's him.
It's funny because they actually get to use like he is actually a fish in the sea. You know?
Yeah, it's true. Like literally fish in the sea.
And usually it's like tall, dark, and handsome.
Right.
That's what the saying. So he's
Yeah.
long, tan, and handsome.
Yeah, it's
which
just
long might not be quite a word to use about a guy in
to
high
describe
school.
a boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's long.
Yeah. If you
Let
just-
me tell you.
Yeah,
he
he
is
fits all
long.
three, so he'd be like, "Oh yeah, this guy's long."
No, baby, no more crying. We'll get you a date. Why, I'll take you. What about Squidward? Wait. Here, take SpongeBob.
The fry cook? Do you know what that would do to my complexion? People will mistake me for a planetarium.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
It's a good comedy rule of threes here.
Yeah,
where,
right. Because I'll take you, and then he's like, "Well,
Yeah, she
you
does,
can go with Squidward."
and then she does the exact same cry noise again.
Right.
and,
Doesn't say any
and it's like
words.
starting to like shake the room a little bit,
Yeah.
and so they're like, no, no, like they don't want it to happen.
Well, no. Why don't you take SpongeBob? The
Yeah.
three, and then she stops crying. Right. She has a complete. This is her first time reacting to one of them, which, as we talked about 2 episodes ago, a reaction is better than no reaction. It means that she cares.
Yeah,
So, right, she's like, you mean the fry cook? People might mistake me for a planetarium.
yeah. Well, yeah, it's weird. Because before that too, she says, "Do you know what that would do to my complexion?" And that doesn't really make sense
Yeah.
either. So she's just
She
like,
means like her social complexion.
yeah, which I don't think that's something people say.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna get zits from SpongeBob.
Right. So it's like, and then she says, "Yeah, people mistake me for a planetarium." And then Mr. Krabs is like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, all like wide-eyed, like staring in the
Yeah.
distance, like 1,000-yard stare. I don't know.
The sound too, it has like an ominous like music behind it for a second.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like funny because we were both like, "What is the joke here?" And it's like, I was like, I think the joke is just that it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Right. And she's just she's just so afraid of not being seen as popular or cool or whatever
Yeah.
that she's just like, "Oh, it would wreck my she doesn't even know what she's talking about. She's
Right.
just
She's a teenager.
a teenager, right?
And Mr. Krabs agrees with her too for whatever problem she thinks she'll have. And he's like, "Okay, fine. Is there anybody in this restaurant that would like to take out me daughter Pearl?" And then
Yeah.
we see like 2 or 3 of the Fred-looking
Freds.
fish, and they're all eating burgers. And then they disappear, and the burgers just fall right, like they leave them standing.
Yeah, they like vanish.
Yeah, and then another one is just standing there and does it the same thing with his drink. They're like, "No, get out of there so quick." They don't even take the stuff that they bought.
At that point,
Yeah, she's like,
Pearl like admits defeat and says, "Just don't be late, SpongeBob."
yeah. And
So
Krab-
she's going to take her and SpongeBob are going to the prom.
Yeah, and so Krabs is like, "Oh, good, SpongeBob, you're gonna be great." And at this point, he like looks all weird and like shocked or disgusted almost.
Yeah.
But he's not moving, and
He
he's
has-
like telling him take care of his daughter, this and that. And as they're talking, SpongeBob walks up and is like, "Oh, hey, Mr. Krabs, you talking to this dummy I made? Pretty realistic, right?"
Yeah. I didn't remember this part of the episode at all.
The dummy?
Yeah.
Oh,
It
I
like-
did. When
Even when we were watching it and we see the dummy the first time, I didn't remember that he was a dummy at the end.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
remembered
I was
that
like,
second.
I was like, why the fuck is there a dummy? I don't get it. I don't remember this. So yeah, that's funny. It's just this dummy, and he's like, "It's pretty realistic. I made this part out of whatever." And then Mr. Krabs cuts him off and is like, "You're taking Pearl to prom."
and SpongeBob says, "Really?"
Yeah.
And it's like this. We've seen it a few times where they use it as a joke, but SpongeBob always has to ask "really" and give people the opportunity to shut him down. You know, like
Yeah.
Plankton and Patrick
No.
have already done that.
Yeah.
Really? Nah.
But in this case,
Really? No, not really.
yeah, he does say, "Oh wow, don't worry, Mr. Krabs. I am a prom expert.
Yeah, and then it cuts to him at home, and he's like, "Oh, Gary, I'm a prom failure."
Yeah. I couldn't even get a date for my own junior prom. So that is...
This is a junior prom, right?
well, yeah, but it's also like
He went
high
to-
school. It's not...
Yeah.
It's school. It's just regular school. So this is like, I think, the first time we reference regular school outside of boating school.
Yeah. Right.
Um,
Because he already went to that school.
Right. He's already graduated, you know. He couldn't get a date for his own junior prom.
Yeah, and then Gary's like, meow, and SpongeBob goes, no, that was Patrick who took his mom. You know, Gary was like, didn't you take your mom?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, that was Patrick.
And also, we know that SpongeBob and Patrick went to school together.
Right.
So that's another little thing to remember.
Yeah. Gary must... I don't know. Gary may have been alive back then. Who knows how long he's had Gary? I think at some point we might find out if we watch long enough, but...
Right.
You know, I don't know the lifespan of a sponge compared to a snail.
I'm sure they made an origin episode at some point of
Yeah.
how they how they got together.
Right. So Gary meows again, and he's like, "Oh, what? You got something for me, Gary?" And he reaches into his shell.
Yeah.
And he's like fumbling around, and he pulls out a magazine for Long Tan Handsome magazine.
Yeah.
How convenient.
And he says, "This gives me an idea." And then he starts to get ready for the prom.
Yep, in montage fashion.
Yes.
Yeah, first he's cutting and sewing like a piece of black fabric, right? He's like making his own clothes.
Yep. And he takes a shower. He plucks his...
In the shower, though, when he steps out, he puts a towel through each hole on either side of his head and like moves it back and forth. Which is funny. It's like it's saying that he has no brain as well in there, blocking
guess,
it.
yeah.
Although we have seen his brain.
We know he has a brain.
And it's easily controllable by technology.
But it just rolls around in his head when he moves.
Yeah. So he has space to like put it around.
Right. It can be moved anywhere.
Right. So he does that, and then, as you were saying, he plucks his eyelashes.
Yeah. And,
each one individually.
Yeah. And
all
then,
6 of them.
And then puts a new set on top.
Yeah, but the set he puts on top, too, they're all connected.
Yeah.
And he, like, puts them on, but they're flush with his eyes, so you can't see. Otherwise, it'd look like he had, like, eyeshadow as well on the top of his eyes.
Yeah, right. It's just, I don't even know. It's just a cute little thing.
Yeah,
That's
it's
all
funny
it
how
is.
he always has the eyelashes, because it's usually, like, a girly thing to do, but in him, it's, like, just a wholesome...
Yeah, it just makes him more childish, I guess. More innocent.
Yeah.
In whatever way, somehow that makes sense. I don't know, but it does.
And then we get to him planting, like, he's like making a plant.
Yeah, he like
in that black fabric.
He like
that he
rakes.
cut.
He like rakes open. He like prepares the land, so to speak, on this fabric, and then puts the seeds down and waters it, and he actually grows the, like, what do they call those?
Carnation.
Is it a not a corsage, but a boutonniere or whatever?
Yeah.
Is that what they call those?
I think it's a
boutonniere.
corsage. The boutonniere is the...
Well, corsage is
that's the wrist one?
thing.
Yeah,
for
I guess I
girl.
get them confused, because we, as men, buy a corsage, but we don't actually wear it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, boutonniere, I believe. He grows it onto his own thing. But as he's growing it, too, we get a shot of him in overalls at one point. And then in another one, he's just got this light, like this desk lamp that's attached to his head. And he's using it to, like, as sunlight to grow.
Yeah, to speed up the growing process.
Yeah. So he does that. And then the next thing we see is his shoe. And he's going to, like, lace up his...
Right.
shoes and put his pants on.
It just looks like his leg.
Right.
His
because
regular
it's like
leg.
a yellow thing going into his shoe.
Yeah, he laces it up, and then we see it's connected to a long like stilt,
Contraption.
basically. But yeah, it's got all this. It's got like a some kind of a meter, like a
pressure meter and air pressure.
yeah. It's got a nozzle, like a knob on it and stuff.
It's a sprinkler or like a faucet nozzle.
Yeah.
Faucet.
Faucet. And he's got all this stuff. So they're pretty complicated little stilts he's made.
Yeah, and you can see him tie his own shoe on the top of it.
But they're also very thrown together and don't work so good. As
yeah,
we
it's
will
not
see.
clean. There's different materials in there. He's just kind of MacGyvering it.
Yeah.
Which apparently he must have got the idea from the magazine, right? That's what we're
I guess, right. How to be tall.
Yeah.
And then...
and then he says, long, right? He's like describing himself now.
Yeah.
And then for tan, we see a toaster, and he jumps out of the toaster as a piece of toast.
Yeah, right.
And he's tan. So he's just a piece of toast.
And then we get an ultra close-up of his 2 front teeth as he licks them individually, and they have braces on them.
Yeah.
Which makes him handsome, yeah, apparently.
Yeah, and we don't see them ever again, right? Like during the episode, he has regular teeth.
Yeah, right. But and also somehow...
Oh, I get it. I think... So I was thinking, how are braces handsome?
Right.
But he put them on to straighten his teeth last minute. That's, I guess, what we're to assume, because he takes them off.
Oh, okay. That would make more sense.
Yeah, and we just can't see his other teeth because they're hidden by his gums.
Yeah, right.
But
interesting.
It should be like a retainer or something, because
right.
you can't just put on your own braces and take them off. But
yeah,
he does. So that makes more sense. Since I've seen the episode, I've always been like, why are braces handsome?
That would
even though I've had braces twice.
That would make it make the most sense for sure.
Yeah.
So then
we go back to the anchor for the first time.
Well, SpongeBob's getting ready to leave, and he's like, we can see his shadow, and it's all like wonky, and his legs are going all over the place and stuff. Yeah. And he's like, wait till they get a load of me, basically. And Gary is like frightened by the sight of him.
It's a common thing for them to do a reveal where like there's a shadow that's cast over somebody, and then it reveals what they are.
Then we arrive at the anchor in a limo.
Yeah, there's a big white
limo.
submarine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that I guess SpongeBob got himself. I don't know.
Yeah. There's something funny about the way the limo works that I'll talk about when we see it again.
Okay.
But for now, we see SpongeBob at the door, and he's knocking on Krabs' door. We've already determined that's the anchor is his door, or is his house. We've seen it before.
Yeah.
In the boots and whatnot.
We know, yeah.
So he comes in, and Krabs opens the door, and we just see legs, and SpongeBob has this crank on the side, and he like lowers himself down. It's like a ratchet.
Yeah,
type thing.
yeah.
So he can control his stilts, essentially, to be taller or shorter.
Right. There's some adjustability there.
Yeah, and Krabs says, he cleans up pretty good, doesn't he, Pearl? And he also has, so he's wearing the tuxedo. Yeah. And then he also has a big black wig on top.
Right.
And he is slightly darker.
And it's kind of like a weird, like, I don't know, like 50s style wig or something. Right. I don't know. It's definitely not like a in style hairdo, you know.
Right.
It's like
even in the 90s.
It's an outdated style.
And it like a dad hair almost.
Kind of, yeah.
But she says, well, at least no one will recognize you.
Yeah, and we see her, and she's wearing a nice pink dress.
Can you imagine, though, going in high school, like somebody bringing somebody who was a fry cook somewhere, and you're like, oh, yeah, I recognize this guy. You know, like it's such a small town, and this is like...
Oh, it's the fry cook, yeah.
Place. Yeah, he's kind of the attraction.
Right.
Like, let's be honest. He will get recognized places, and she's, like... thinking that this is good now, that they won't.
Yeah, she doesn't want.
But it just speaks to his recognition.
Well, because even though, I mean, it speaks to his recognition. People know he's a good fry cook, but I would say people also know that he's an idiot, too.
Yeah, and also, how can you not recognize him? He's really the only square sponge.
He's the only square yellow sponge we've ever seen.
And he's got a big old honker on his nose.
Big old honker.
Well, as his nose.
But, I don't know. I guess... it could be assumed that there are other sponges that look similar to him somewhere in
And we know as they
the
get
universe.
older, they turn round like his.
Yeah,
parents,
yeah,
you
right.
know?
Because they get wore down with time.
Yeah. So then she says, well, this will be fine, but we have to take a picture and get punched with my friends and this and that. And she's like listing off the things she wants
Yeah,
to do.
and then we get like we don't get like a 12 hours later break or anything, but we do get
It's like a fade.
A fade to show us that a lot of time has passed.
Right, because the list is gigantic as well.
Yeah, his list is going all over the place.
SpongeBob is
similar
listing...
to another list that we know about.
Mm-hmm. There's two
in
lists.
Wrestling.
But the extremely long list would be the list of 1,004
Oh, that's right. I guess he
holds.
does have two lists.
He
That's
does.
funny. I never realized that he has two.
Yeah,
that's
Chris
cool.
Jericho listing off, I think it's 1,004 holds.
No, it's like 4,001 or something. I think that's what it is. Or maybe, no, yeah.
I
Okay,
believe it's a man
because
of
Dean
1,000, and
Malenko
then
was a
he's-
man of 1,000 holds.
And he's
yeah.
1,004. He
Yeah.
doesn't just beat him by 1, he beats him by 4.
Right.
Arm bar.
Yeah, he says armbar a lot of times.
Yeah.
And he says some funny ones, like the moss-covered spinning
No,
three-handled.
it's the moss-covered, 3-handled family Gredenzel.
There is a spinning in there, I think, too, though.
Well, in the one he says, I'm pretty certain it's just that, because that's Perry Saturn's finisher, too.
I know that.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying it for the people.
No,
Perry Saturn, I think, is also looking for help with medical bills right now. So if you remember him and want to give money, we haven't even met the guy, but it's just a thing,
Last
Try to look out for
last
those
I
old
heard,
timers.
he was in a pretty rough time.
Yeah.
But that was a while ago. Hopefully things are better for him. I don't know.
And then to follow it up, Chris Jericho from wrestling had another list where he would put people on that upset him. And if you made the list, it was like the worst thing you could ever do. People would lose their mind if they were put on the list.
Yeah.
He would never like kill people on the list or like tell on them or something.
It was just a list that he made.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's just, it is like an old saying, like you're going on my list. Like it means like, I don't like you, basically,
Yeah. And the list idea, actually, it came out later, right, that it was made by Jimmy Jacobs. He came up with it when he was doing creative, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it was the reason that
Jimmy Jacobs is a independent wrestling, I don't know, I would say an independent wrestling star, but
Yeah.
he's from the Michigan circuit area, like originally, and he still wrestles around here pretty regularly.
and he was trained at the same House of Truth.
Yeah.
that we did.
He was. Well, I think so. Yeah, I think that's right. Or at least
he's a supporter of it, and he helps train.
and he helps train there
and
too.
he's known
sometimes,
Martin for years.
Right.
Truth Martini. Anyways,
Cool guys.
So she's listing off all this stuff. Chris Jericho-esque, making things for him to list. And he's like, I don't know if we'll have time to keep going. He's like, we kind of got to get in the limo. And she's like, oh, yay, a limo. So first she's like, make sure to do all these things. And he's like, oh, but I have a limo, which she must not have brought up. Otherwise, he probably would have mentioned. But then they get in the limo.
Mm-hmm. And, why didn't you say so? I love limousines. And Mr. Krabs tells Pearl to go easy on SpongeBob.
Yeah, because she's like the big girl.
Yeah.
He's like with an Amazon woman.
Yeah.
She could tear him apart.
Yeah. I can't afford to break in a new fry cook. That's what it's all. It goes back to money.
Yeah. And then we see them at like arriving at the prom, and they're just sitting in the back of the limo, and it's like it's a convertible essentially. They're just sitting in a seat in the back.
Right.
And I don't know why it reminded me, but it's kind of like the JFK.
Okay.
Like, because of how open it is,
I guess.
But it's like a limo. It's long. But basically, they're just riding through in a convertible, which no one does anymore since that.
Either that
you can't
or...
see the inside of the vehicle at all, or the driver or anything.
Yeah. I guess, I don't know. I guess that maybe the implication is because Pearl's so large, she has to put her whole head out the the top thing.
Well, they're both of their heads are out.
Well, SpongeBob is also tall right now too.
Sure.
So I think that's
But
what's
it looks
actually
like their
going on.
seats are like exposed too, not just
Maybe,
like a moon
yeah.
roof.
I don't know. It's a weird.
It's just to get them in so that
It's-
they can show
We're
Pearl being so big that
Right.
the limo is scraping off the ground, and that like all the other students that they pass are covering their ears because of how horrible the sound is.
it's dragging along the ground. At that point,
They arrive.
yeah,
We see that they're in a gymnasium. It's the gym,
Yeah.
probably from the school, and there's like spotlights out and tiki torch and red carpet. It's got everything.
yeah. It's prom. Prom is a pretty big deal.
I went to 3.
Wow, cool guy. I went
That's
to.
just how it worked out because I had 2 different girlfriends.
I went to 2. I theoretically could have gone to 3 because my girlfriend at the time was a year younger than me.
Yeah.
So I could have gone to her senior prom, but I didn't because it's like, why would I do that? None of my friends are there.
Yeah, mine was all when I was younger.
Yeah.
You know, when I was a freshman and then a sophomore and then a senior.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You're one of those guys.
Yeah. Well, I just had older girlfriends.
Yeah.
But they arrive and SpongeBob's going over the list like, what should we do first? And you see a flash come from the side and Pearl decides, oh, yay, my first prom picture. And SpongeBob goes, our first prom picture? And he like taps her right on her face.
Yeah.
Because that's what's the huge part about her. And he leaves his hand on there and she sprays it with some kind of spray, and then his hand just like shrivels up.
Yeah.
It's it's pretty crazy.
It's something. It's funny though.
Yeah.
It's silly.
So then she goes over to the photo booth area.
Yeah. SpongeBob is gonna have a hard time walking over there because these legs don't quite work right, even though it seems like they worked right all the way up until now.
Yeah, now he's like overthinking it.
Yeah, and he can't like get over there. She's like standing there in the photo booth, like waiting for him just to come over, and then eventually he like stretches over and like is hanging onto the curtain that makes up the like backdrop for the photo. And he can't move his legs or whatever, and it doesn't work. He ends up tearing the whole thing down, and then right at that moment when the curtain falls on top of Pearl and himself and just tears the whole set down, the guy takes the photo.
Yeah, so he says he's like pulling it down, but he's like cheese, but then it actually all comes down.
Yeah.
Covers her, and then he takes it and just walks away. And he's got like a chute over his head. You know, it's like really professional. But it's just over his head and a camera. And then he just walks away at that point. And SpongeBob goes, yep, that'll be a keeper.
Right, he just walks away like, oh, well, my set's destroyed.
Yeah, go
I'm just
home.
going to leave.
But I always remembered that line. Yep, that'll be a keeper.
Yeah. He's trying to make light of the situation.
Right, but then Pearl's friends start to show up.
Yeah. And she's like, here come my friends. Go get me some punch.
Yeah, and she's like trying to get the curtains off of her.
Because she
whatnot.
wants them to think that her date's awesome, you know?
Yeah. Right, like, oh yeah, he's getting me punched.
Yeah, right.
How nice. What a great
What a
guy.
good date, yeah. And then he goes, prom expert away, and he
like springs like a frog. Like his legs go all the way out.
Yeah, it's funny. And
right.
And then
Pearl's
the girls
friends.
come over, and then
I'd like you to meet Billy Fishkins.
Meep,
And you know Brian Flounder from math class.
meep.
Hi, Brian.
So, like, where's your date, Pearl? We're dying to meet him.
He's over at the punch bowl getting me some punch.
Ooh, is he the really tall one?
Oh, yes. I mean, oh, no.
Her friends are like, hey, here's this person you don't know, and here's this one you do. And she says, hi, person I do know.
yeah, she
Like,
doesn't say hi to Billy though.
Yeah,
Wow.
and they meep all the time. Like, Honestly, we don't even know if they talk. Like
Well,
fish like that.
I think I think they're supposed
just
to
boy
be.
toys.
They're supposed to be anchovies, right? Because are anchovies
Yeah,
the
it
one that
seems
say
like it.
meep? Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Meep.
So yeah, it's kind of weird. And also she does call them pizza topping later. So yeah,
Yeah.
they are anchovies for sure.
That's
One of the friends is like, "Where's your date?" You know, we're all dying to meet him.
yeah. That's
like,
what she says.
And she's
And
like,
but
"Oh,
it's not sarcastic, right? It sounds like it should be, but
it's
also
it is
not.
and it isn't, because
It's usually
there's always
yeah.
that like implication in high school that it's like, oh, we're all always judging you, and we're
Yeah.
all gonna talk,
and we know
we're
your
all gonna talk
boyfriend-
as soon as you guys are gone, you
Yeah,
know. So
we know your
like,
boyfriend just dumped you, so I wonder who it is.
right, yeah,
Yeah, and then we see SpongeBob getting the punch. Right, he's like up over top of it with his tall legs.
Yeah.
and he's just reaching down, trying to grab the ladle.
yeah.
which is just like moving around in the water as he's just barely touching the
Like
top
floating
of it.
around, yeah,
Yeah.
like he just can't get his hands down low enough to grab it. Which is weird because he can like shapeshift and stuff. So really he should be able to like stretch or at least lower his legs down a little bit. But
he wants to remain tall.
right. He
It's-
can't do that at the prom, right?
Yeah,
that would be
it's-
too much.
he's trying to keep the mirage.
He's
going,
trying
the facade.
he's trying to keep things cool as much as they can be under the circumstances, I guess.
So we get a close up of his face, and you can see his tongue like coming out between his bottom row of teeth and his two top ones.
Yeah, it's kind of like a concentration type thing. Like,
He's- and everybody is watching him.
Yeah.
Not just Pearl and her friends looking. So eventually his legs start being wonky, and he ends up grabbing the punch bowl, and it goes
for stability,
completely
and
over top of him.
it spills all over the top of him, of course. And then Pearl, to run distraction, Pearl says, "Oh, quick, let's go see how ugly Cindy's dress is."
Yeah, but then she doesn't even go with him. She goes over to SpongeBob to see what he's doing.
And then SpongeBob is down on the floor, like behind the table. We can't see what's going on, but we can see that he is giving other prom goers glasses of punch from the floor.
And they're thanking him, too. They're appreciative. They like it.
Right, yeah. And
it sounds like a seltzer bottle. You know, like one of those clown type things. Like you can hear the spraying.
They probably used
liquid.
the same sound effect for the soda bottle that Squidward had.
Yeah.
In that one episode.
Right.
Naughty Nautical Neighbors.
The very same.
And
right.
Pearl comes over and she asks him what he's doing, you know, kind of mad, like, or embarrassed
what's
a little
wrong
bit.
with you? What are you doing?
What are you doing, SpongeBob? And then we are revealed, it is revealed that SpongeBob is on the floor, skin all red now, because he's absorbed all the punch, and he is now shooting punch out through his nostril.
Yeah, but he's holding one nostril closed and shooting it out, kind of like you would try to get snot and boogers out.
Yeah, like snot rocketing or blowing your nose.
Yeah.
But this is more like he's just blowing it right into a cup and handing them out to people.
Yeah,
and
they like it.
And they like it, right?
It's the only way to get punched.
At this point, right? If you want punch, that's what you have to do.
But she's like disgusted by it.
Pearl's not having it. She gasps, and SpongeBob's like, "What is it?" And
he stands up, and he's back to normal.
Yeah, he's not red
already.
anymore. Yeah, he's
he must
yellow.
have wrung himself out.
And then it is Pearl's ex-boyfriend that she is trying to hide from. But
Octavius Rex.
Yeah, she names him by name.
Yeah.
And what a name it is.
Yeah.
And
it's like what? Octavian and like Oedipus Rex, like it's kind of epic sounding
I
names,
guess
you
that
know?
is what it is, right? Yeah. I didn't really think of it that way, but you're right. But it's also funny because Pearl's dog's name is Rex. We will find out later.
Yeah. That's probably why they named him that.
Oh my. And then and then, she calls him long, tan, and handsome again, just to remind us.
I don't know if you noticed, but when she does, we get the, like, music that's like...
It's my ex-boyfriend, Octavius Rex, a.k.a. Long, Tan, and Handsome.
Meep.
That music was used a lot in the early Sims games.
Oh,
when they would, like... I don't remember exactly what, some sort of romantic thing, like when you ask them to move in, or you woohoo maybe, or something.
Yeah, marry, or whatever.
Marry a man. Yeah. They would play that same noise. Something in this episode is whack as well, which is funny. But SpongeBob's like, he's got nothing on me. And he pulls out this trophy. He's like, is that guy the regional... Or is he the holder of the regional romantic dance trophy? And then some guy's like, hey, give me that back.
Yeah.
And SpongeBob goes, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
He's just rolling with it. It's actually really funny.
Which I felt like this was kind of, I don't know, that line seemed weird for SpongeBob to me. For him to be like, that didn't just happen. Like, it's almost like too smooth for SpongeBob,
exactly.
Like,
right.
And then
they're gonna get down and dance.
Yeah. What does he do?
He's very tall, right? So his legs are like huge, but he's just up there and he's got like one arm pointed forward and the other one's just doing a backward windmill.
Yeah.
Like he's at a fucking moshing two-step concert, that's the move. They do the windmill, but with a fist instead.
They do that. That's funny.
Yeah.
And he's doing this silly dance move, and she's like, what are you doing? Can't you see everyone here is doing the whack?
Yeah, which you can see it's just the person with their date, they're just jumping up and like chest bumping each other.
Yeah. They're just
repeatedly
smashing into each other.
Which, as like a high school kid, would be like really sexy to
me.
I'd be like,
it would not be allowed.
Yeah,
you wouldn't be allowed to like smash your genitals up against each other, basically. Exactly. I mean, we do it, you do it, but
we don't do it with
discreetly.
Such force.
Yeah, discreetly.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like, let's just smash them together,
Right. It's like, you don't always have to
as hard as we can.
Hard.
Right.
In fact, sometimes that's not right to do. Sometimes you have to make some love and fucking give her some smooches too.
It's true. And SpongeBob is like, oh yeah, I invented that one.
Yeah.
And he tries to do it. Legs aren't working.
Yeah, he's like struggling and she's just standing there and she's like, are you sure you know how to do it?
Yeah, and then he jumps and then he bounces into Pearl and Pearl goes flying and sends them through a...
They land on like a couple.
Yeah.
And like they get like pinched and thrown out.
Yeah, Pearl lands on them because she's so large. They get like pinched in between her and the floor and go flying through the air now.
And they go like over the table and knock everything off the table. And then they go into we see for some reason at a prom they're doing caricatures or something.
Yeah,
this guy's drawing
like portraits.
I
guess
a single person.
I don't know. Was it the same fish that was doing
the camera?
And
like now this is what he's doing.
It might have been. Yeah.
Well, we can't see because he had a shoot on his head before.
Yeah.
I think he was a different color.
That would be funny though if that was the joke. If he came back and he's like, okay, well I guess I'll just start painting people now.
I still got to get the pictures done. And
right.
Earn that paycheck.
Right. So.
But he's drawing this person, and then the couple that is being thrown.
Yeah.
Both of their faces crash in through the back of the easel in the drawing pad.
Yeah, and then the painter sees this and says,
"Ah!" This is also the second time that we've seen someone's face go through a
painting. Yeah. And then, but this is great. The painter decides to dive headfirst into the nearby trash can and just kick his legs.
Yeah, he just jumps in the trash can.
But I love just the leg kicks. It's like, what is he doing?
He's like trying to get deeper in
there. Like he's trying to dig deeper to hide.
It's just chaos because then we just see Pearl and SpongeBob sitting on the ground and then people are running all over the place.
Yeah, it's just, it's like pandemonium. And Pearl's like... I guess you can take me home now that you ruined everything.
Yeah, and then there's a sink, a kitchen sink, like, flies by.
Yeah.
And we hear a "my leg" from someone
Oh,
who's
right.
not Fred.
Yeah, it's
Who
like
could be like his kid.
it's Fred's son or something because it's
Yeah.
like a kid's voice saying
Yeah.
my leg.
My leg.
Or a teenager's voice.
Yeah.
And then
He's like, no, don't worry. There's still plenty we can do.
yeah, right, and he pulls out his
SpongeBob
list. He pulls out his list that he made earlier that she made him make.
He goes, "Oh, we can still do no, I broke that. Well,
Yeah.
how about no," and he's just like going through the list.
Yeah, he can't find anything that they can still do at this point because
Yeah.
he's ruined everything.
And he's like, "Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry." And then he gets to the end of the list, realizing that he fucked up everything she wanted to do, and he goes, "Whatever you do, don't cry."
yeah.
And
It's classic.
He ends up running away crying.
Yeah, he runs into the women's bathroom.
Which is marked by a frowning fish facing upward.
It's a pink fish. I don't know if
I
that
couldn't even
registered
tell.
to you. Yeah, but
No,
that's
thought it was white.
yeah. That's why that's how I imagine that's how it's girls. The boys would probably be blue.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Because all the women run out. That's how we know for sure that it's the women.
Right. They all run out and
Screaming.
he's in there and then yeah, Pearl's one friend.
It's like, aw, poor little guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What did you do to him?
Yeah.
And so
And
Pearl
she
feels
actually
bad.
feels bad,
Yeah.
yeah.
And she's like, I love it too when people want to be like nice and like sweet to SpongeBob. They just call him Sponge.
Yeah.
They go, because she goes, Sponge, are you okay?
Right, like the first time I remembered it was when Squidward did it during pizza delivery.
Same thing.
when
SpongeBob's
he was
crying and he
yeah.
needs to be consoled. So he goes, Sponge,
Sponge buddy.
Plankton buddy.
But she, he's crying and screaming back incoherently as she's trying to help him.
Yeah,
And
but
she's like,
but you can hear like kind of the end of what he's saying a little
Yeah.
bit.
Sponge, are you okay? Don't worry, SpongeBob. You didn't mess everything up. Actually, it was pretty funny when that hot dog landed in Judy's hair. But I am having a good time. You know, we haven't finished our dance yet. Yes, you can still wear the wig.
Let's go!
she's like, yeah, you can still wear the wig.
And he runs out all happy.
Yeah.
Let's
Let's
go.
go.
And then we get the song, which we will play for you.
We get a shot of the record player, and like the record puts itself on and starts playing.
All right, you invertebrates, I'm gonna teach you how to do the sponge. Well, if you take your leg and you stick it in the air, and then you take the other one and jam it right up there, you twist yourself around and give a great big lunge. Now you're doing the sponge. I do the sponge, or do the sponge. Bet your punch, you're doing the sponge. Well, now first you take your leg.
So then while this is going on, right, SpongeBob lifts his leg up, lifts the other one, he crosses them with his arms, and he's just bouncing around. Pearl can do it too.
Yeah, he's beating his buns up against the ground.
Yeah. And then one guy tries to do it and just rips his entire leg off.
Yeah.
And falls over. And then another one is trying to do it, and he like falls and knocks over all these people in like a domino, and they hit this big giant football player in a Letterman jacket.
Yeah.
And he's pissed. And then like they're still dancing and stuff. The guy who had one leg now has no legs and is crawling across the dance floor.
Yeah.
And people are running around, but SpongeBob and Pearl are having a good time.
And like paramedics arrive.
Yeah, and they're kind of running to the beat as well.
Yeah.
And fish are just like, they have X's on their eyes, and they're just like being thrown from who knows where onto the board or whatever that
Yeah,
they're
I
carrying.
don't know what those things
People
are
are
called.
just like being thrown
Stretcher,
on it.
I guess, basically.
Yeah, right. And then SpongeBob is bouncing around so much, he turns into a ball. He's like a basketball. And,
Yeah.
Pearl's able to dribble him and shoot him, and we see the scoreboard.
Yeah.
And instead of like saying points or whatever, it just says score and flashes score, right?
Yeah, but it says home and visitor, and
Yeah.
visitor has 2 points.
Right.
So
And he is a visitor.
I guess because he's a visitor.
But she
Sure.
shot it, and that's where she goes to school.
Yeah, supposedly. I don't know. Maybe it was just held at like the community gym or something. You
Yeah.
know? I don't know.
Who knows? It's
We don't see the school, but
And to think that that scoreboards are automatically tallied.
right. It's
Yeah.
it's an automatic.
It's like, oh, I sensed the ball go through. 2 points.
There's a sensor, right?
And it's like, she was kind of far. I would give that 3 at least. That was from downtown.
yeah, it was from downtown for
Yeah.
sure.
So then everybody's doing the sponge, but then all these people
They're
come up
trying.
and grab Pearl and SpongeBob
Well,
and
you
hold them up.
you forgot about Octavius Rex.
Oh,
Walking
yeah,
up
you're
and
right.
trying to get his girl back.
Yeah.
One last time, and that's when she says, "Get lost, pizza topping. Can't you see I'm doing the sponge?"
Yeah, and she bounces around.
Yeah.
And then, then all the people come up and they grab them and pull them up. And
But
they're
it is
like-
kind of made to look. I mean, we know that these people probably aren't happy.
Yeah.
But it's made to look like, oh, yay, we're
Hooray.
raising them up, yay.
And they're like, yeah, they love us.
yeah.
But then they all just go to the door and throw them outside.
Yeah, they're like, we're popular.
Yeah.
And
Every-
then they throw them out, and they say, and don't come back.
And then everybody's like kind of mumbling and walking back in. And this one fish comes out and goes,
Go wreck someone else's prom, will ya?
but it's the voice of Heifer.
Yeah.
Right,
From
Tom
Rocco's
Kenny.
Modern Life, which
Yeah.
is done by Tom Kenny as well, yes.
But this one sounds just like him. So
yeah,
that was
it's
pretty funny.
Heifer's voice for sure.
Yeah. So then it's time for them to leave, and we see SpongeBob and Pearl back at the crab residence, and he's like, "Well, sorry, it was, you didn't have fun." And she was like, "Well, as far as disasters go, that was really fun."
Yeah.
Then crabs they're
at this
talking.
point, yeah, right. As far as she says that was really fun, yeah. At this point, Mr. Krabs opens the door, and he's like, keep away from my precious little flower, because it's like they're going to kiss or whatever,
Yeah.
as you would at the end of the night on a date
Even
or
though
whatever.
your little flower is usually, that's like your virginity.
Well, it's
But it's
something a father might call their daughter, though. It's not that
Yeah, I
weird.
guess. It's kind of a weird thing to call them because of that, but
I
Yeah,
think
they're
you
just
have
doing
a
it as
dirty
a term.
mind.
no.
Yes.
I'm saying it's like a common
I
thing.
I know it is, but you also there's a lot of common things that could be considered dirty, but we just don't think about them that way.
Sure. But anyways, what he was talking about was the flower under them. And you can see it actually when they're first talking. There's the flower right by them. And it looks like they're about to step on it. And he opens the door with a big rake in his hand, right? And is like, "Stay away from my precious flower. You almost stepped on it."
Mm-hmm.
And he starts raking by it.
And yeah, Pearl's like, "Oh, Daddy. Well, good night, short, yellow, and spongy."
Yeah, but he's just he looks like all creeped
At
out
this point,
again,
he's
and
like, yeah, he's
he's
frozen
blank.
in a
Yeah.
weird face.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody seems to think that's weird.
Yeah.
And she's like, "SpongeBob?" And she's like, "Oh, whatever," and goes
Yeah.
inside.
And then Krabs
It's
comes
like,
out.
"Good job," and then
Yeah.
goes back inside as well. And then at that point, I mean, we, the audience, basically know what's going to happen.
If we remember.
Yeah, if we can remember earlier in the episode when this happened, SpongeBob walks in from off camera and goes, "Oh, there you are, dummy. You sure come in handy."
Yeah, and at first he his body just comes in from the left, he's not even touching the ground. Just
Yeah.
to take his peek. He's peeking his way into the shot. It's kind of funny. And,
right.
And he's in his regular clothes. He's not in a second tuxedo, that he just put the dummy there right at the very end.
Right.
You
So
know?
the dummy was the whole time. It was the dummy.
Yeah.
The dummy was crying. The dummy was, spilling punch and dispersing punch. That was all the dummy the whole time.
And then it must have malfunctioned or something at the end. It didn't
I guess
know how to handle
I guess it
that.
just like runs out of. Eventually, like just runs out or something. I don't know. It's weird. He just calls it a dummy. He never calls it a robot or anything.
Yeah. But that's it for the Chaperone. That was a good one. I really remember that one and liked it.
I liked it better this time more than I remember liking it, actually.
Yeah, because we both kind of forgot about the Sponge song. And
Yeah,
we like music.
I was like, oh, a song, yay.
We like music and we don't care who knows.
Yeah.
So then we're going. I don't know. I would rate that one entire punch-filled sponge.
How many cups of
Nose
punch? Yeah,
good amount.
a good amount. I'd say like 15 cups. I could put away punch like it's nobody's business. So 15 cups, that's a good amount for me, though.
Yeah.
I'll put that away in one night, easy.
Anyways, the next one that we're going to is Employee of the Month.
Indeedy dandy. This one is also 11 minutes long. And storyboard artists, we got 3 on this episode for some reason, which is kind of weird. Mark O'Hare, Ennio Torreson Jr., and Eric Weiss. Storyboard director was Paul Tibbett. The writers of this episode were Paul Tibbett and Mr. Lawrence. Animation director, again, Sean Dempsey. And creative director,
Employee of the Month himself.
12 for 12 up until this point. Double D, Derek Drymon. The guy, if you will.
The man. With the
no,
plan.
That's not. Yeah, okay. There you go. SpongeBob. Where do we open up at? We're at the Krusty Krab.
Yeah,
yet
it does.
again.
This is the second one with the Krusty Krab. Before we get into it, I just wanted to say, for no reason, yesterday, I was looking for something to watch with Angie, my girlfriend, and I went on Netflix and saw that they had the movie Employee of the Month with Dane Cook, and she'd never seen it. So we just watched it yesterday, not even realizing that this was.
Oh my gosh, that's
I've seen that
so
movie
crazy.
a lot of times too.
I've never seen it.
It's good. It also has Dax Shepard. It has Jessica Simpson.
Oh, I love Dax.
It has the dude who's Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, I love Pedro.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. I like it. A lot of stuff is cheesy and kind of dumb and
Yeah.
Dane Cookie, but
Yeah, right.
but
Dane
for the most
Cookie.
part, it's good. His name's Zach in it too.
Oh, so you
And
really
he-
like it? Because
Yeah,
of that.
and he plays on the company softball team. They work at like a Sam's Club.
Oh
type
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
He plays in the softball team, and his number's 14, which
Oh.
was always my number and the
'Cause
number
it's your
of my
birthday,
birthday.
yeah. Nerd.
So I always thought that was kind of cool, and it was showed a lot on reruns because it's like a low-end movie that they put on TV.
Right. So,
Anyways,
so we're inside the Krusty Krab.
well, first we see the outside, and we see
Well, I
that the
know.
sign is at the front. I just
Oh
wanted to
my
say
God.
that because
Oh
we
my
talked about it being in the back.
gosh. I know the sign moved between
Yeah.
episodes. SpongeBob is annoying Squidward or trying to get his attention,
Hey, Squidward. Hey, Squidward. Hey, Squidward.
and then eventually Squidward says, "What is it, SpongeBob?
Do you know what today is?
Annoy Squidward Day?"
No, silly. That's on the 15th.
And he pulls his calendar out and shows us that, sure enough, which that date already passed, so
Yeah.
Squidward should know
It must
that.
be reoccurring on
Yeah.
every month.
Yeah, right. The 15th of every month. But it's
Yeah.
just marked with a sticker of like Squidward's head or like a drawing or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a little pencil drawing.
Yeah.
And then he says, no, it's the beginning of the judging for Employee of the Month. And when he shows the calendar and the day that it is, it's the 27th, right?
Right.
And we will find out that it's January in a second.
Yeah.
But the calendar's weird because we can't see all of the days. We can just see the squares on them. And we can see the day that it is, and we can see the 15th when Squidward is going to be annoyed. And if you do the math of the numbers, the way that they're organized would be in 5-day weeks.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, technically the calendar is a man-made construct and time and
right.
Keeping track of all that stuff.
It is. It's all made up.
So theirs could be different anyways, and it wouldn't matter. But also, one of the weeks would have a different amount of days because it goes from like the 26th to the 21st. Like the 21st is on top of it, and then on top of that is the 15th. So it's like everything's just all messed up.
Yeah. They didn't do the math right on that.
Yeah.
Drawing, which they
just wanted to get Squidward's face in.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, they drew it like that.
Right. So Squidward then lets SpongeBob know that he thinks that award is a scam, and
it's just a way for Mr. Krabs to get you to work harder for no extra money.
And then SpongeBob innocently says, "No, he gives it to me because I work harder."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You could win too." And he's like, "So I can have my face on the wall of shame."
Yeah, and then we see there's a giant wall that says Employee of the Month in
Right.
between the fry cook, the kitchen entrance, and then like the bathroom door to the right of it.
Yeah, and it's like, it's pretty like big and noticeable. We've never seen it before though.
Because there's
and
like,
I don't think we ever really see it again. Probably.
There's like at least like 60 different
like years worth of this
of a picture for each month of SpongeBob.
Right.
He's won it ever since the beginning.
Yeah, so this...
Well, there is a lot on there. It definitely looks like more, but the number that he says is 26. He's already won it 26 times in a row. But it seems like there's more drawings on there. I
think so, but maybe, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm not going to count them.
Right. And he's like, he tells him pretty much, you should be honored to be on the wall or something like SpongeBob isn't embarrassed to be Employee of the Month.
Right. And Mr. Krabs appears at this time, and he's like, that a boy, SpongeBob, but he also says that this is going to be a tough one. There's no clear winner. And
he's like trying to... It's obvious that he's being facetious.
Right.
It's like, oh, I don't know. There's no one really.
Yeah, Squidward might be on the verge of a breakout.
Yeah, and even he's like
might
in on it.
Might be a new face on the wall. And SpongeBob's like, what? No.
And we see the empty spot, and it says January.
With the January, no picture there, though. So that lets us know that this is January.
Yep, and Squidward comes in like, oh, I might sneak up on you. Like, him and Krabs are both in it like, he's going to get it because it helps him be a good worker. So, we're just playing it up and having a good laugh.
And Squidward has to do less work the more that SpongeBob does, too.
Yeah.
So he wants him to do that,
Krabs
too.
makes more money. So, because Squidward, when he does work, is always horrible.
And then, right. And then...
we also see that the book Squidward was trying to read is Frown Digest.
Although, right. Although we will find out later in this episode that Squidward can work if he wants to. But we'll get there. And he says...
SpongeBob's like, man, I don't know how I could let my quality of work slip so much.
Yeah. And then SpongeBob is in the kitchen making patties, and there's one patty that's being a little bit stingy, won't come off the grill. He's got to put some elbow grease, or, whatever, put some muscle into it.
Yeah.
And he jacks it up, and it goes all the way up to the ceiling. It flies off the grill,
Yeah, and he freaks out, and he's like, and he runs up the wall to get to the top of the
Sonic
ceiling.
the Hedgehog style.
Yeah, and we've seen him do it already.
Yeah, he has done this
kitchen.
a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah. So now he's on top.
He's fast.
Down.
He's fast enough to run up walls and ceilings.
Yeah, but then he's also on his knees on the ceiling.
And he can. Yeah,
right?
he
it's
can.
Like he's defying gravity.
Yeah, somehow he can just do that sometimes.
doing?
Making Krabby Patties?
You're losing it. Don't you know that award is a load of garbage?
Yeah, he's like, don't you know that that award is a load of, and then SpongeBob finally gets the patty off and it flies into this fan that's just a standing fan.
Yeah,
that's
like a
in
desk
there.
fan, yeah.
Yeah, and it splatters meat all over Squidward.
Yeah, his
so
whole
he's
body.
like, don't you know that award's a load of... It like makes a raspberry farty type noise. And he goes, garbage!
Yeah. And then SpongeBob is like all nervous. He's like,
don't tell Mr. Krabs.
Don't tell Mr. Krabs. It'll hurt my chances of winning the award. He's like, I already told you the award is a bunch of... And then gets sprayed again with meat that who knows where it came from.
Yeah.
And then he says baloney.
Yeah. And SpongeBob tells him, no, it's just like this hat. It is a symbol, him being Employee of the Month. And Squidward grabs his hat, and he's like, it's a symbol that you're a chump. And he throws SpongeBob's hat on the ground and goes to step on it, like stomp it out. Because he's like a jerk. He's tired of getting covered in meat.
Right. But he stomps on the hat, right?
And he hurts his 2 legs.
Yeah, the hat
his
doesn't
feet.
move. It stays in its shape, and it hurts his feet. And SpongeBob reveals
that an experienced Employee of the Month always leaves a brick of lead in his hat.
Yes.
And he pulls the hat off, revealing this giant brick of lead. But then Squidward is saying whatever, like how stupid everything is, and he gets sprayed again with another patty. So for the 3rd time, he's sprayed with patties. 2 of them, who knows where they came from.
Yeah, just other old ceiling patties that happen to be right above that fan, I guess.
But SpongeBob puts on his hat, leaving out the brick of lead. Making a rookie mistake for someone who's clearly an experienced Employee of the Month.
And then Squidward, Squidward, though, tells SpongeBob that the award's a joke, and then SpongeBob is pondering that, and he says, what if the award is a phony? And he's looking at his wall of photos of himself, his Employee of the Month photos. And then they all suddenly have...
like military helmets?
They all suddenly are like drill sergeants, and they have these military helmets on. And it even, it's even... I don't know, is it SpongeBob's voice?
Yeah.
Talking like a military sergeant then? Okay.
Come on, Private.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, this is war now. That's exactly what he wants you to think. Like, and basically, SpongeBob, in using his imagination, in having these pictures talk to him, reconvinces himself that, the award is not a fake and it's important and that he needs to do anything he can to win it.
Yeah, and he even ends with, now move out.
Yep. Yeah, he's like, just normal military type drill sergeant type talk, You'll stop at nothing, and I mean nothing, to defeat him. Have I made myself clear, Private? And it tells him to move out. And then SpongeBob...
the next time we see him, it's their house on College Street.
And it's nighttime.
Yep.
SpongeBob is outside of his house, we see.
In some tall grass.
Yeah.
That's just in front of his house.
A plant that's growing up close to the pineapple. Yeah. He's just kind of hiding in there.
Doesn't he know that that's where the Pokemon hide?
Even though, right, it's like he's hiding there, but it's like he wouldn't be hidden at all.
Yeah, you can see him.
Yeah.
And he's got binoculars on, and he's looking into Squidward's house.
Yeah.
And he sees Squidward setting his alarm, and he says... he can't go to work if he doesn't wake up, which is something that they did a thing like this in the movie Employee of the Month. Just for reference. I think they took a lot of the similar tropes in certain things where it's just like, that's just ridiculous because it's a freaking Sam's Club.
Yeah.
They end up having a ring off and stuff at the end. Anyways, SpongeBob breaks into Squidward's house. He sneaks in through the upstairs window.
Yes, and
Squidward's like brushing his teeth and stuff.
Yeah, he's in his bathroom, which we knew Squidward had a bathroom in his upstairs, but I don't think we ever were really. Well, actually, we have seen Squidward's bedroom be on the ground floor in the past in the Plankton episode. But in this episode, his bedroom is upstairs.
He's just rearranging because he's such a arty guy.
Yeah, it could be. Or there's just more rooms in there than we think. I think that's how it is for every cartoon house. There's just always more rooms than there should be able to be.
It's just wherever it makes sense. And the reason it makes sense here is so SpongeBob can break in through the windows and not the door.
And also, he was looking at him through his upstairs window.
Yeah, although if they wanted continuity, they should have just put it behind Squidward's house through the kitchen or something. But
they weren't worried. They weren't worried about it, and I don't think most people are. But continuity is fun to talk about. Yeah, though,
it's just playful. Like it happens, and it's there's reasons for it based on time and what looks good and stuff.
Yeah, it just kind of is what it is, but. Anyway, he's up there, and Squidward is brushing his teeth. SpongeBob is going to try to get this alarm clock to break it or steal it or whatever he's going to do.
He goes...
Oh, Squidward hears something, right? Mm-hmm. So he
comes out and he looks around his room, and he doesn't see anything. So he's like, huh, oh well, he'll go get finished again. But we can see... that SpongeBob's hiding behind a plant that's right next to him.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. And then Squidward closes the door. SpongeBob slides around, and then he's by the bed where the alarm clock is. He goes to grab it, and he hears Squidward on the other side of the door and hides inside of Squidward's pillowcase because just makes sense.
Yeah.
He can fit right in there.
Right. And it looks like one of those memory foam mattresses because it's all squared.
Yeah, it looks real stiff, right?
And Squidward goes right to bed and lays down and rests his head on his pillow.
Yeah, and he can notice that it's not right. It's too stiff or something. He's trying to fluff it and figure it out. He's trying to adjust, and he's tickling SpongeBob in doing so because SpongeBob starts to giggle, which we can see his eyes, and they're it's cute. His little eyes are you can tell he's laughing by the way his eyes look, and you can hear him laughing too. But it's a cute little thing. And then, anyway.
Yeah, so he fluffs it, and he you can see SpongeBob's eyes coming out of the pillowcase.
Yeah.
And he fluffs it, right?
Yeah.
Little giggle. We can see his eyelids. Because he's so excited. Well, he's ticklish. Then he's laying down and sleeping, and we see SpongeBob's hand go to grab the alarm clock, and Squidward looks over and sees the arm and freaks out.
Yep, he notices it and throws the pillow up against the wall and reveals SpongeBob was in there, and then
and the way that it does it is not following continuity too. The opening in the pillowcase, SpongeBob had his eyes through.
Yeah.
But when Squidward throws it, the part with the opening falls down, revealing SpongeBob, but now he's upside down.
Well, his body is pretty malleable. He could probably spin around in there somehow.
It was pretty tight on his body, though.
I know, but it's a cartoon, bud.
Yeah, I know. I'm just talking about it. You just said how fun it was to talk about it.
But that one is that one's not that's not lore. That's just a dumb little thing. That's kind of whatevs. And he had to be upside down just because it's funnier than him being right side up.
Right. And he's yelling at him, and he's stupid. And SpongeBob goes and grabs the alarm clock and explains that he can't go to work if he doesn't wake up, and he smashes it on the floor. And then this is good. This is probably my favorite thing of the whole episode. Right, as he's smashing it, it shoots right over to Squidward again, and he's just winding up another one.
And he's like, yeah.
Yeah. And SpongeBob grabs that one, brings it over to where the other one is, because this is now his designated smashing area.
Yeah.
And he starts smashing it on the floor.
Yeah, he smashes that one, and at that point, Squidward reveals he has a whole closet with shelves full of these alarm clocks, hundreds of them. SpongeBob starts to grab them one by one, running over to the closet and then back over to the other side of the room to smash them.
Area, yeah.
And he smashes a few of them, and then Squidward's like, "Stop it. If I really wanted that award, I could win it with my tentacles tied."
And he goes, "That can be arranged."
Yeah.
He's like,
"You're a lunatic, SpongeBob."
And he says, "Yeah, that may be."
But he did win the Employee of the Month 26 months in a row. And then Squidward takes that as an insult of, "Are you trying to say you're better than me?" And he says, "I've been better than you 26 months, and it'll be 27 tomorrow."
Yeah.
So they're getting pretty...
Right, but now Squidward's like, "Okay, I'll show you. I'll win Employee of the Month." First he was like, "I don't really care." And now SpongeBob's breaking into his house and smashing his alarm clocks. He's like, "I'm going to win it because screw you."
I will prove to you I am far more competent than you.
Well, I'm going in early to wax the floors.
Don't bother. I'll have done it already by the time you get there.
Well, you'll have to get up pretty early to get there before me.
I don't need to sleep. Loser.
Well, me neither. 26-time loser.
Yeah. So they're going back and forth. And then, but yeah, Squidward says, "I don't need sleep." And then calls him a loser. I just like that too. He's like, he's giving up sleep for this now. He's just like, "You know what? I don't even need it. I'll show you."
And SpongeBob calls him a 26-time loser. Like, SpongeBob he's never really been this openly mean to people. Like, he's actually being a jerk. He's calling him a loser back. He's breaking into his house.
Yeah, something that means a lot to SpongeBob is actually at stake right now in a way that it's like if he doesn't win, then he'll feel like a failure, you know? So it's making him act crazy, yeah.
So then we see SpongeBob in his house, and he's looking out his window to Squidward, who's also looking out the window, and he has bloodshot eyes.
And yeah, I love it. He just goes, "Look at him, watching me."
And then it goes back to behind Squidward, and he goes, "I'm watching you, SpongeBob."
Yeah.
Look at him, watching me.
I'm watching you, SpongeBob. You're not leaving before me.
Hey, Squidward, getting sleepy, huh?
No. How about you?
Nope. Nighty-night.
"You're not leaving before me." And then they actually start talking to each other. SpongeBob is like, "Hey, getting sleepy, huh?" And then Squidward's like, "No." And then they're like, "No." And then at this point, Squidward pulls out his clarinet and begins to sing
To play
Bram's Lullaby.
Yeah.
And,
lullaby. Yeah. You know, it's kind of like that.
And then SpongeBob even says, "Nighty night."
Yeah, as he falls asleep. He tries to stay up, but he just can't fight
he can't fight it. And I just like that. That's him like giving up, like nighty night.
Yeah. And Squidward decides, "Oh, well now it's time to get to work."
But I do like how Squidward like is still trying to sneak. Like he knows like how this is like war. This is serious. Like and yeah, he's trying to sneak out. He's like tiptoeing out of his house, and
he even puts his uniform on.
Yeah, and but he immediately falls into a large hole that was dug by SpongeBob.
Yeah, because we can see SpongeBob up at the top of it with a shovel.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What are you doing? Let me out."
Yeah,
and
he's
SpongeBob goes, "Going somewhere?"
Yeah.
He's up and dressed and everything. And
I love Squidward says, "I'm going to wring you dry when I get out of here," which is funny because he's a sponge, right?
And he says, "Let me out of here." And he goes, "Okay, I'll stop by after work." SpongeBob's like, "I beat him. I dug this
I've won.
15-foot hole in a square."
Instead of going to work, he decides to go back to bed to get some rest because he is
now
tired.
He doesn't have to worry about it.
And he doesn't want to look tired for his Employee of the Month photo.
Yeah.
And
he sleeps with his hat on.
At this time, Squidward manages to spider his way out of there by
with
putting
his
all
many
of his
legs.
legs all along the edges of this hole and lifting his body out.
And then he nails a board, like boards over SpongeBob's door.
Yeah, he boards up SpongeBob's door, which
Wakes him
SpongeBob
up.
does also have a back door, but
Yeah, but he gets woken up.
yeah.
And he could jump out the window, too, because we know that wouldn't hurt him. But instead, he outsmarts Squidward by cutting his door out with a saw. He cuts
Yeah.
like a hole around it.
Cuts around the door with
and
a
then
handsaw.
the door falls and crushes Squidward. And he starts running to the Krusty Krab.
Yeah, and then this is where we get our sequence of traps that they have both set for each other.
Yeah, so SpongeBob's running and he gets caught in a cage made of bamboo, and Squidward runs by, but then he's like, and he like moves. He just floats like sideways through the openings, and
Right.
his nose just like ding ding ding.
Yeah.
Like it kind of like clips off the
Yeah.
one.
Boing.
Yeah, and then Squidward's walking, and the next thing you know, it starts to get like foggy.
Yeah.
And we can see like a cork. We can
The
see
opening of a bottle.
Yeah, the cork in the opening of the bottle, and now Squidward's stuck in a bottle with a ship in it.
Yeah, somehow
Yeah.
SpongeBob managed to get him in there.
Yeah, and it's just a funny thing because of cartoons.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but yeah, it's funny, right?
And then Squidward's yelling, and SpongeBob, like, he like huffs on the glass to fog it up, and then writes "loser" in cursive backwards so that Squidward can read it.
Right, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
Writes
it
it backwards. That's quite a talent there. But then, so obviously this enrages Squidward, and he's not done. He's gonna find a way out of that bottle. We don't know. We don't see how, but he does because there is a Krabby Patty on the ground, which of course SpongeBob cannot resist.
Yeah, I don't know who made it.
He has to stop and smell it, but you know, it's like it's a trap, and it
hinges open.
Yeah, it comes open, and a little arm comes out and just pinches SpongeBob's nose. And
Yeah,
somehow
just grabbing it in place.
Somehow that renders him
motionless
motionless
like he can't
for
move.
a while. Yeah, right.
He's up on his tiptoes and he's waving his arms and he's like, Squidward.
Yeah, yeah.
He can't move. It's like Goku when you grab his tail.
I guess so, right? So then he's gone, and then he gets caught
There's a net
in
on
a
the
net.
ground.
Yeah. And then SpongeBob runs by laughing, who ends up running through like a
fence,
chain link type fence.
Yeah, he just runs right through it. It's not even a trap. It's just a fence that he wasn't looking at and ran through.
And it like
got chopped into pieces.
Yeah, it like grates him up into chunks, and
then we just get like really quick views of the aftermath of these traps.
They get quicker and sort of more ridiculous, but yeah. Squidward is like hogtied, and and then SpongeBob is paved into a brick wall.
Yeah, there's just one brick missing, and you can see it, and SpongeBob's in it.
Yeah,
like
SpongeBob is like where this missing brick would
there's
go.
like cement there.
And then it cuts to them just
knowing this.
You know, like later. I mean, it fades to
it's getting
to
more,
signify the passage of some time.
It's more daytime too now.
Right, and it's not night anymore. Right,
the sun's about to come up.
They've been doing this crap all night to each other, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But we see Squidward is chained to a sunken pirate ship, right?
Yep, and he's pulling himself forward.
And he's like crawling, like pulling this thing behind him, and then SpongeBob next to him is tied to a large anchor and has to like basically backstroke.
Yeah, he's like belly up.
Yeah,
and he's grabbing the ground above him.
Yeah,
and pulling it down
to drag himself further along.
So now after two actual like half episodes or whatever you'd call them, after him being like the weakest thing in the world, now he's actually crawling himself closer while being tied to a giant anchor.
He's not only moving his own whole body weight with his arms, he's moving a huge anchor as well.
Yeah, but now Squidward holds up a little white flag and offers a truce, and SpongeBob also takes the truce and has his own white flag. And then they're like, we should save our energy for work. Let's just stop. So somehow they let each other free, and here they are shaking. And as they
Indeed.
are, we get to see a close-up of them. And first we see SpongeBob, and he's like, look at him. Lying, boneless, ink-squirting, big-nose phony. We should just play this part anyways.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Squidward calls him a buck-tooth corn-fed, or look at his buck-tooth corn-fed smile. I can't trust him as far as I can throw him.
I love that saying so much.
My dad used to say it a lot.
It's so funny to me.
But as I got older, it didn't make as much sense. It's like, you really can't throw me at all now.
Yeah, right. Well, the whole thing is he can't throw you very far, ever.
Yeah.
That's the joke, is that you can't throw someone very far. So when you say you can't trust them as far as you can throw them, you're saying, I don't trust you very much at all. I can't throw you very far. That's what it means.
Yeah, it could also be the amount that I can't trust you is as far as I can throw you. I can throw you really far, so that means I really can't trust you. I don't know.
I don't think that's what it's supposed to mean. I don't know.
It's just words.
I get what you mean. But
either way, Squidward can't trust him, and apparently doesn't think he can throw him. That's what you think? And they're...
Well, like when people say it, that's what they're saying. Because you can't pick up another human being and throw them very far at all.
Even though we do it in front of...
I'm just saying, in real life, like I couldn't go over to you and pick you up and try to... like, if I tried to pick you up and throw you right now, you wouldn't go anywhere.
Yes, I would. Be loose.
Yeah, never mind. You're dumb.
I know what you're saying. You say wrestling's not real. And you're exposing the business for the fans. I get it. Because in wrestling, we pick each other up and throw each other real far. But if you were to do it right here, you couldn't because it's not real.
I'm just trying to explain to you the frickin' expression that you don't understand.
It's a work, all right? Would you just take my word for it?
No.
So they're talking to each other. Well, they're in their heads still, and SpongeBob's like, as soon as he stops shaking my hand, and Squidward's like, I'm gonna make a run for it.
Yeah, they're both
like they're
thinking
on the same
it.
page.
Yeah.
Yep. So then they're just like, it shows them shaking, and it's like it sounds like a creaky like knob or something. It's like something that needs some oil or WD-40.
Yeah, they're both so tired.
And that's just them shaking hands. And they're just doing it because they're both waiting for the other to stop.
Right.
But then they just both stop and they're like, and
then both take off.
Yeah. And then we see Krabs is at the Krusty Krab opening the doors.
Singing to himself a little ditty about money.
Yep. And he's getting his keys out, even though there are two glass doors that open this place with no handles or anything. He's getting his keys ready.
He sees SpongeBob and Squidward in the distance, and it's cool the way this background is painted. It's it's like super sunny down there.
Yeah.
Like you can just see the silhouettes of SpongeBob and Squidward like running towards the door. And Mr. Krabs remarks, "It warms me wallet to see me employees coming in so early."
Yeah.
Warms his wallet. That's funny.
Not his heart, but his wallet.
Yeah. That is his heart. Like that's like his lifeblood is his wallet.
And then being there early does mean more money.
Yep.
Maybe. Well, because he's not paying overtime, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then
so they like just run right by him and run right in there.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, they like basically run over him, and then SpongeBob is like, "Look, clean floors," and he's scrubbing the floors, and they're all like, they look insane,
cracked out.
Yeah.
And they're staring at at Krabs the whole
just
time.
huge eyeballs, no blinking, bloodshot eyes, and Squidward's like, clean tables, Mr. Krabs. And then he's like cleaning it so hard that he breaks the table in
Yeah,
half.
he just snaps the whole thing.
Yeah.
And like doesn't even look down and is just smiling.
Yeah. And then SpongeBob's got a big thing of dishes, a big stack of dishes in his arms, and he's like, "Clean dishes, Mr. Krabs," and they're all breaking, and then he starts
drops them on the ground.
and then he starts cleaning them with
a mop.
and he's like,
Krabs is screaming. He's like, "No!"
yeah, and he's like, "It's more efficient to clean dishes this way, Mr. Krabs," when they're all broken and on the floor with a mop.
And then Squidward goes, "Hey, look, flowers and chocolates, Mr. Krabs."
Yeah.
Now he's trying to bribe him with stuff that's not work.
SpongeBob, look, I'm putting my own money in the register, Mr. Krabs.
Yeah.
And it's just like $1 and a few coins.
Yeah. And then he goes, look, 2 spatulas.
Yeah.
Now I can, flip twice as many patties.
Increase productivity. Faster, SpongeBob, faster. And then Squidward comes in and he does the same thing.
Yeah,
and this is what
a
I
big
was,
long grill. They're on the same grill.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying, that we can see that Squidward can work, like, if he wants to, because they both start making patties at a rapid rate. And
they're just piling up.
Yeah, they're piling up. They're piling up all over the grill, and Mr. Krabs is behind them in the kitchen, and he's like trying to stop them, and it's not going to happen because they're just going crazy and they're making too many patties too fast.
Yeah.
And then so it starts to fill up the room,
which
and
we've
then,
seen already, right? We've seen SpongeBob overflow the kitchen with too many burgers before. I know it does happen in another episode too, but I guess the one I'm thinking of is the first one where he's just slinging them out onto Patrick.
Oh yeah. But then they just shoot Patrick out of the building. They don't fill up the building.
Well, you can hear the sound of him making them. We just don't see the aftermath when it's like full.
I see what you're saying.
But this time it fills up so much that the Krusty Krab like explodes. And,
right, it explodes and totally destroyed. Yeah. Which is also, I think, maybe the second time it's been completely destroyed. Well, no. Squeaky Boots, did it get destroyed?
No.
He
just lifted
it up. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe the first time.
Yeah, it might be. But I'm sure it's not the last.
So we could see pieces of the building, and the sign is there, and there's Krabby Patties everywhere.
The Employee of the Month wall, though, seems to be mostly intact.
Yeah, except that the spot for January has a big hole in it, and you can see Mr. Krabs' face where... it's like just the frame is left, the outside of the frame.
Mm-hmm.
And Krabs puts his head through, and he's watching what goes down. And some fish walk up, and they're like, "Oh, hey, look. Hey, free Krabby Patties."
Because they're all over the ground, and they're like falling from the sky.
Yeah.
Which I guess they would be free at that point.
And they're all like wholesome, too. Like one of them's like in the background, and he goes, "Hey, look at that. Krabby Patty." And then Krabs is like, "No, boys, come on."
You've got to pay for those.
Yeah, boys, come on. And then they like both come out of the Employee of the Month January thing too.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Who is it? Who's the Employee of the Month? We got to know. Oh my gosh."
Who won? And Squidward's like, me, it's me. And they're like, they continue going back and forth. And then Mr. Krabs is just upset about the patties.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the end.
That is it.
It ends on a sour note, sort of. There's no resolution.
Yeah, just people get free Krabby Patties, and I guess the lesson learned is
Mr. Krabs gets punished for trying to get them to compete basically
without giving them real compensation.
Right. So really, it's the moral is don't be a dick and manipulate people into doing shit without rewarding them for said things that they do.
We should do a thing where we just say what the lesson is every time, because the lesson of the Chaperone is probably give everyone a chance to be fun. Like Pearl didn't give him a chance; he wrecked everything, but in the end, she ended up having fun. And if she would have embraced taking SpongeBob in the first place, she would have. They would have had a great time, and he wouldn't have had to try so hard to impress
Also,
her.
just embrace who he is.
Yeah.
Like, just he doesn't have to be tall and do all that other
Yeah.
stuff. Like they still could have had fun.
Yeah.
Because when he does do the dance at the end, he doesn't have his big long legs
Exactly.
anymore. He's just himself, basically. I mean, he does have
Just
his
with the
wig.
wig and
And he
tux.
he likes to wear the wig.
Yeah,
so,
he likes to dress up. That's
in
cool.
the wig.
This one, definitely memorable. Definitely like 2 whole Krusty Krabs full of Krabby Patties.
2?
Yeah.
The Krusty Krab 2?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which could be, one of the last things that we ever cover on this show.
Potentially.
Because it's the beginning of the movie.
But we might do some
there
more
are
stuff
some
after that.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe we'll do season 4. I don't know. Who gives a shit? It'll be
We'll be
like
dead by then anyway.
It'll be like a year or 2 before we get there, so it's all good. Anyway, that does it for this rendition of the Striped Sweater podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I have been one half of your hosts, Alexander Beardsley. Of course, I introduced myself as Brian Flounder, which was one of those silly teenage fish names. We thought that was a fun thing. But normally...
Wait, that wasn't your real name the whole time?
My name, yeah.
Then why did I say I, Alex? Jeez, I definitely should have said I,
Brian.
Brian.
Anyway, my name's Alex Beardsley. I do this podcast. I'm also a professional wrestler, and I wrestle under the ring name Ashton Waganda. And that is where you can find me all over the internet under that moniker. And that is spelled ASHTONWAGANDHA. And, hit me up, ask me some questions or whatever you might feel like doing. I don't know.
Oh, why, it's me. I'm Zach Main. And you can find me at Zach Main. I'm also a professional wrestler and have my own page for that. And I'm totally rad _Zach and Mystified. All those names in different places.
Indeed. We're all over the internet. But we, the Striped Sweater Productions crew, we have a Striped Sweater Productions Facebook page, which you should go like. Just type it into the search bar. It'll pop up.
stripesweaterproductions@gmail.com.
Yeah, send us an email with some fan mail. We've gotten a few fans reaching out to us, and it's really great, and we love to hear from you. So please feel free to email us or message us on Facebook or whatever you want to do. Feel free, because we appreciate you guys so much, and we couldn't do it. We probably would keep doing it without you, because it is fun for us, but it makes it better knowing that there's a few people out there who are listening and really enjoying themselves. So thank you so much.
And that's it. The only thing left to tackle is
the age-old question.
Wondering just what the heck.
A tale as old as time.
Yeah. What the heck would you do with a drunken sailor? What would you do?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you this time again.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you a few times.
Okay, let me get a little bit of context here. What is this?
Oh, we're setting a different scenario?
Well,
okay.
no, it's the same scenario.
No, let's set a different one this time.
Okay.
We've done cruise ships, we've done pirates. Let's say it's 1915.
Okay.
And the world is starting to get cars. I think I'm really bad with time frames.
That's they're
right. Henry Ford's
that's about
running
right.
things.
That's about right. Yeah.
So here you are. You're a 19-year-old kid, and and you live in Vietnam.
Okay.
And
am I Vietnamese?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
You tell me.
Okay.
And there's a war imminent or already happened. I'm bad with time still. Right? It hasn't
in
happened?
Vietnam?
Vietnam would have been.
Yeah, you got like 50 years, bud.
Yeah. But there's soldiers there. sailors, in fact. They ride boats. And one of them is drunk and is in your house in the same bedroom as your mom. And all you're trying to do is get Cheerios. And you ask your mom for Vietnamese Cheerios. And you see her in bed with a sailor who is drunk. What do you do?
Oh, man. That's a tough one. But I'm 19 years old, so I could probably kick ass if I had to.
Right, and that's what you would have done at that age.
Yeah,
assault.
I mean, to be honest, yes, probably. If I was 19 years old, that was like a time where I was ready to kick ass all the time, basically.
When you were a young warthog.
Yeah. Because I don't know, if I saw, I don't know, I guess if it's consensual, then I just go on about my business. Right. And but that's the thing is, like, if I'm a young Vietnamese boy trying to beat up an American sailor, what happens to me in the eyes of the law in Vietnam? Am I okay? Am I safe? Probably not. I feel like I probably die after that. So probably just let it happen, I guess.
Yeah, I have no idea.
And just wait for him to leave. I don't know. It's a tough call. But yeah, probably just either beat him up or just let it be. One or the other.
Yeah.
Depends on the day, I guess. But yeah, thanks again for listening, y'all. And be sure to subscribe. New episodes every Wednesday. Next week, what do we have?
I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up real quick because I noticed we very rarely remember to say next week is this.
Yeah.
And I feel like you just should. So next week we will be talking about episodes 13A and B, Scaredy Pants, which of course is the Halloween episode, and I Was a Teenage Gary, which
also a good one.
We'll see some transformations of some of our favorite characters.
Horror movie.
Sure.
Yep.
I was a teenage, what is it? Vampire or something? No.
Werewolf.
Well, Teen Wolf, yeah. Okay.
No, I was a teenage werewolf. That's the name of the movie.
That is a real thing?
From 1974.
Huh.
Or 1957.
Huh. And then Teen Wolf was
a different thing.
The like 80s retelling of it, probably.
Ferris Bueller.
Ferris Bueller.
The dude, right? Who was in the original Teen Wolf?
Michael J. Fox.
Oh.
That's right. Marty McFly, bro.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
All right.
Same deal.
Well, we've talked about weird stuff long enough.
Gotta go.
Hope you enjoyed yourselves, and please share with your friends. Leave us a review. Leave us a rating if you feel inclined. Love ya. Bye.
Bye.